Hey, what's up guys, I'm Praetorian and welcome to Imperator Rome, as we're going to be starting a new series today with the 2.0 Marius patch and the Heirs of Alexander expansion. So some of you may recall the first series that I did with this game as Ptolemy Egypt back when the game first launched in April 2019. And while I did enjoy that series, I think the reason why I enjoyed it so much was because of the focus on history. If you watched it, then you'll recall that we had several historical discussions, or historical lectures if you will, where I talked about all the different Diadochi in turn, the events surrounding them, how they came to power, what happened after they came to power, the wars between the Diadochi. We discussed the people that were surrounding the Diadochi, the successors, as well as their heirs. So I think that played a role in why I enjoyed it so much, is because I did get to talk about a time period in history that I really enjoy discussing, and we just had such a huge focus on the history. But the game, if you guys will recall, those who watched that campaign, I did not enjoy the game. I thought it was kind of a little bit of a mess in a way. It just didn't seem well put together. I didn't like the way they took some parts of EU4 that I just didn't I didn't think fit well in this game, and some of them were parts I didn't really like in EU4 either. Overall, I felt there weren't enough mechanics. The mechanics that they did have were kind of odd and strange, and weren't historical and weren't fun to play with. And each country pretty much largely felt the same. There wasn't much to make each country, each culture, each religion feel different from each other. And if you want to know the full details of why I did not like Imperator Rome at launch, I did do an informal review of it that you can go check out on the channel. Now, it is an informal review, which means it's pretty long, and it's not really organized or anything. It's just me discussing what I liked about it and what I didn't like about it. And I was pretty critical of the game overall. I did not enjoy it at all, and thus I never played it again. I did those two campaigns, the campaign before we did the series, and then the actual series, and then I never played the game again until recently when I got access to the 2.0 patch and the new expansion. Finally decided to check it out again because I've been following this game and its development over the last 2 years, and I'm really impressed with everything that Paradox has done with it. I'm just impressed that they continue to work on it, period, after the really bad reception. But I think they really wanted to invest in this series, and I'm glad they did, because I feel like they've done a lot of really good things with it, and thus far, what I've been playing since I've got access to the patch, I think they've done a really good job with it. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this and check out the latest edition of Imperator Rome and see if it's, finally a good game. Because again, I just didn't feel like at launch that it was good. It definitely had the capacity to be a good game. It just wasn't. It felt like it needed a bit more development, and it has gotten that now. So I'm excited to show you guys some of the changes, especially if this is the first time you've seen the game since that Egypt series, because so much has changed, guys. They have made some massive changes. We're going to be playing as Rome, and I know that the expansion here, Heirs of Alexander, is focused on the successors, the Diadochi. However, since we played as Egypt in our first campaign, I kind of wanted to play somewhere else. So I think for this campaign, we're going to be playing as Rome. We never played as Rome in this Rome game, and so I definitely wanted to try them out here on the channel. I've only played them once. They were the first campaign I did, and they were pretty fun, even in the launch version of the game. Of course, playing Imperator Rome at launch was only fun for a few hours before you had pretty much seen and done everything there was to see and do. So we're going to go and read this initial event here, and then I'm going to talk just very quickly about the format of the campaign when it comes to the historical discussions, and whether it's going to be more tutorial style or not. For over 20 years, the nascent Roman Republic has fought a harsh campaign against the Samnite people to the south. Although victory often seemed far from grasp, the war ended in Rome's favor, resulting in the liberation of the important Greek city of Neapolis. The Samnites, however, having retreated to lick their wounds, are far from defeated. So they actually won the siege of Neapolis, which is here in modern-day Naples. They actually won that siege through subterfuge. They were able to get some of the inhabitants to betray the city and open up a gate for the Romans, and they were able to sneak in and surprise the defenders. And because they did that, they were actually treated not as harsh as they would be if they had taken the city in a more aggressive manner. But they did try and do the attack the city the traditional manner, and they actually failed quite a few times. So they would eventually have succeeded, but this definitely made it a much quicker, the fact that the city was betrayed. In the north, the Etruscan people eye the expansion of the Republic with apprehension. To the south, myriad Greek city-states plot behind one another's backs, all the while appealing to their benefactors in Greece for aid. On the far-flung island of Sicily, the foreign invasion of the mysterious Carthaginian Empire threatens to upset the precarious balance of power in the region. Will Rome rise victorious or fall to internal strife and barbaric hordes? The fate of the Republic rests in your hands. For the Republic. So before we go any further, I did want to discuss two things. First of all, the historical discussions, they will likely make a return as we had in the previous series and as we've been doing in all of our CK series, the CK2 series and then the 2 CK3 series. So we'll likely continue to have those historical discussions. However, we're not going to have any here in this first episode. I don't think it gels well in the first episode where you're trying to get, I'm already talking enough about other stuff. So I'd like to get some gameplay in here. So we're not going to have a historical discussion in this episode, probably not the second one either. Maybe the third episode or the fifth episode, somewhere around there is when we'll have our first historical discussion. And then the other thing is that I know a lot of you guys are probably coming from either the CK3 series or coming from one of the Hoi 4 series, and thus you don't really know much about Imperator Rome. And I should put out there that I am not an expert in this game. Obviously, I've played, I think, 3 or 4 campaigns total, and none of them that far. I think I have about 50 hours in the game, which is not a lot for a Paradox game, so I'm definitely not an expert. I don't know all the hotkeys to the game, and I'm not an expert when it comes to the mechanics. But I also don't want to leave those of you who've never seen this game before, never played it before, I don't want to leave you guys in the dark. Just wondering what the hell is going on. So it will have a little bit of the tutorial style that I do have with some of my campaigns, where I explain things as I play, how mechanics work, and my experience with them. But since I do have so little experience overall with the game, if any of you watching play this game often, have a lot more experience than me, or even if you don't and you see I'm doing something wrong, feel free to leave a tip in the comments, any suggestions on what I could do differently or what I could do better. If there's a certain way to operate or utilize a mechanic that's more efficient, then let me know down in the comments below. But overall, I would say I do have a pretty good understanding of the game because I've been reading all the developer diaries ever since it released. I still follow the dev diaries, and I also mod the game a bit. When I do have the time and desire to mod, which isn't very often because I don't really have a lot of free time, but when I do, this is actually the game that I mod. I have a little mod I've been working on for a while, so I do actually know the game, fairly well. But I assume that those of you who played the game a lot probably have a lot better knowledge of it than I do. All right, so we're just going to go through these screens and deal with all the issues that we need to deal with. You'll see we have alerts up here, just like in any other Paradox game. Some alerts up here to let us know what we need to deal with. But we're going to go through all the screens very briefly and deal with things, and I'll quickly discuss what we're seeing here. So obviously we have all our stats here. This is our national ideas, and we'll be selecting those probably right here in the beginning. This is for decisions, and this is to look at your governorships and your provinces. Going over here to our government, because we're a republic, this looks a lot different than if we were to be playing as a monarchy, which for my campaign where I kind of learn this patch and the DLC, and just kind of refamiliarize myself with the game, I actually played as Macedon. So I was a kingdom and didn't have this system here. So this is all pretty new to me because they changed it since the last time I played as Rome. It's quite a bit different. But yeah, these are our political parties here, and our approval and the control, how much control they have of the Senate, and different actions we can take. We'll look at all this stuff as we play. So these are the offices. We'll deal with this a little bit later. I want to deal with some more exciting stuff first, and these are the laws. These are all things we'll look at in a little bit. Same thing with the economy and religion. You know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to go and start out with the technology rather than going down this in order. So we have 4 different technology types, and every time they finish up research here, they'll get a little passive bonus that you can see what that is when you hover over here. And so every time we get these, filled out, we'll get those bonuses. These are our researchers. And every time we finish one, we get an innovation. An innovation will allow us to unlock one of these advancements, or I guess you'd call them innovations, or no, advances. That's what they call them. So they would unlock one of these advances here. Now, interestingly, they are not tied to the tech that unlocked them. So if you, say, finished up a martial tech and got an innovation, then you could use it on civic advances if you wanted to. Now, we start out the game with 8 of them, and I think that's because we're on level 2 tech here. So, you start at level 0, and so 1, 2, you're getting a total of 2 for each of these for 8 innovations at the start of the game here, if you're starting as a country that starts at this tech level. So with our 8 innovations, we could pick the advances, like 2 for each one if we wanted to, but I'm actually not going to do that. There's really good and useful stuff in all of these trees here, but there's some that are probably a little bit better than others. So this is the martial one. We have a naval branch over here, and then this one here seems to focus very much on the sieges and forts. So fort defense, and then stuff to help you at forts, higher siege ability, assault ability, improving your engineers, all kinds of good stuff in here. So it's a pretty good tree. However, we're going to be focusing pretty much solely on this branch of the military advances for a while. And that's because all the way down here at the bottom is the cohorts advancement that is going to unlock the ability to raise legions up. And we'll talk about what legions are and the difference between them and levies here in a little bit. But that's the reason I want to go down here, because right now we can't get legions, which is essentially a standing army. So we're going to be definitely focusing on these here. Before we go down this, though, we'll see how many advances we have left. We're going to save that for last, and then we'll spend a couple of these advances on these other trees here. So with this tree, or these 2 trees, excuse me, we have this branch here, which it does seem to focus very much each branch on improving a certain type of pop. So we got like slaves going down this route. You see we got tribesmen. Then here we have some freemen bonuses. And I want to say that there might be a few for like citizens and stuff as well. And then down this branch, very economic. Some good economic bonuses. And we're actually going to spend our first 2 advances here. So we're going to get the import value. And that'll allow us to get the logistics bureau, which will give us 1 more import route and our capital. And that's going to be super helpful. We'll take a look at import routes here in a little bit. So yeah, we're going to get that, and that's probably going to be the only thing we get here initially. Let's go and take a look at the oratory advances, see what we might want to get on this branch, on these 2 branches. So this one here would improve aggressive expansion impact, make it so it's not as bad. That'll be really helpful for all of our conquests we're going to be doing. And so I think we'll probably start out with that one. And then while diplomatic reputation would be helpful, I think we're going to go and get loyalty of characters. Get a +2 on that, make all of our characters a little bit more loyal, and then we'll get the aggressive expansion impact here. And so thus far we've done 2 here and 2 here, and we're only going to do 1 for the religious advances, and that's the monthly ruler popularity gain. The religious advances only have 1 tree. So we're going to get this one here. We'll make our rulers more popular. With the oratory ones, I didn't really look at those, what the trees do. And that's because I'm not entirely sure that you could really define each one, particularly this one here. It seems to do a lot. Now, this one does seem to focus more on like expanding and getting subjects and improving your relations and income from those subjects. But as far as, see, this one's here very much about opinion with other countries. But I'm not entirely sure what this one's supposed to be like focused on. There's really a lot to it. But overall, it's a lot of diplomatic stuff is what you're going to find in that tree. So with our last 3 innovations, we're going to go ahead and spend these on this tree here. So the first one here is going to give us a free province and investment, which we'll be spending. In addition, it's going to make it cheaper to get military provincial investments. Let's going to get that one. That's how we'll start here. Now, as far as which way we want to go down here to cohorts, we're going to want to go down to the basic training route. The first one's going to give us a +5% for starting experience. Very helpful when you're relying on levies, and then we're going to get the active drill plus 5% discipline. So that'll be really helpful as well. So that's all of our innovations, and we are currently well, I guess it depends which route we go, either 1, 2, 3, 4 advancements to cohorts, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll decide which route we're going to go on that when we get to that point. All right, so technology has been dealt with. This is our character screen, shows all of our characters, which we can sort. We have our families as well, which have 3 major families. This game has 2 different types of characters, major characters, part of these 3 major families, which each have their own little color, and then the minor characters. These major characters, you have to try and appease them by giving them offices. That's why I kind of wanted to talk about this before we actually start looking at offices. And you can see that in order for them to stay content, we have to give each family 3 official positions. And that's both up in the offices, and that includes governorships and leading armies and fleets. Our 3 families here in Rome all have the same exact prestige, but as far as their power base, it does seem that the yellow family here, the Claudia family, is a little bit weaker than the Fabian. I guess it's Fabii. I don't know if that's pronounced right. Claudii and Fabii and Cornelii. I think that's how you pronounce that. Correct me if I'm wrong, though, on that. So it does seem that the Claudii are a bit weaker, just slightly weaker than the other 2. And these are the 3 characters who are the leader of that family. And that's important mostly for, that's one of the primary characters you're going to be dealing with. And also they're the ones that have most of the holdings for that family as well. So that's the families. These are the mission trees, which we'll go ahead and we only have one option, so we'll go ahead and do that one and start it up. And this is just really to kind of guide you on which way you should go with expansion or with improving your empire domestically, depending on the mission tree. And it's just guidelines, essentially. It gives you little bonuses for completing them. You don't have to do them. It's going to take 365 days before they complete. And on completion, participating nations will receive diplomatic events which can improve their relations or create alliances. And on this one, claims on the Italian peninsula, and Rome will be able to pick between various military modifiers. This is the diplomacy screen. You can see different stuff about each country and interact with them, send them offers. Here's our mercenaries. There's also mercenary captains of fleets that we can hire. This is our military screen. Traditions, we'll look at that in the future. There's no reason to look at that now. Same thing with levies. We'll look at that once we go to war. With the trade screen, that's something we'll deal with when we talk about trade. Culture. So this is all new to me. This was not in place in the launch version of the game. And it's definitely an interesting mechanic where you can interact with each culture in your empire and have different policies for them, and you can determine whether or not they are citizens. So right now, the Roman culture are full citizens, and not only that, they have the right to become nobles. That is the highest rank here, which you cannot change from your primary culture. You can see that the next most populous culture that we have here is on the freeman civic right. So we can always change that. Citizen would make them like integrated members of our society. And while doing that will improve the happiness of all the pops in that culture, it also reduces the happiness of all other integrated pops. So that would reduce the happiness of the Romans here, which as you can see are much more populous, so probably not a good idea to do that. But yeah, these are all the cultures here, and you can see we have different decisions, things we could do for them. A lot of these just improve happiness at the expense of output. That's what the majority of them do. Not all of them. There are some different interesting decisions that are kind of cool. For the most part, we probably aren't going to interact with this a ton. We probably won't go to the screen that often. So when we do, the next time we go, we'll talk about it a little bit more. So with the religion, I would like to go ahead and start here because it looks like we have an omen we can call. So these are the 4 gods that we currently have in our pantheon. So we have the god of war, Mars, and this is the benefit that he is granting us now, a plus 3% morale of armies. Now we can have 1 omen enacted at a time, and I think it's 5 years is when we get that bonus, and that's the second bonus. So this would increase our discipline by 6.31%. And then the other 3 gods we have are Mercury, Jupiter, and Ceres. I think that's how you pronounce that. Correct me if I'm wrong. So these are the benefits they give us below. You notice that with Jupiter, we have something different here. This is the Temple of Rome, and you can see that here. It is considered a great wonder, and it's given us this benefit here, plus 20% on our omen power, which, of course, those omens are these benefits here, and this is our total omen power, so that's making these all better. So with the temple, we can place treasures. We have 2 unlocked because a city allows 2 slots. The settlement would have 1, and then if we can get the metropolis, then that would be 3 slots. And with the treasures, as long as the god is in your pantheon, so as long as this temple's in our pantheon here, then we can change out the treasures, and that's actually what we're going to do here. So we have the population capacity plus 7.5%. We're going to keep that. I like that one. Now the other one we have is the Tomb of Romulus, pop assimilation speed plus 0.15, which that one's not bad. The integrated culture happiness would be really good as well, plus 10%. That's nice. Local fort defense, that one's okay, I suppose. And then the statue of Apollo, which that's what the statue is called. That is the statue of Apollo, though. This gives the pop assimilation speed plus 15%, and I think that's actually higher than the 0.15. Because I want to say that I was looking at provinces before, and I think they're around 1.5 or so. So a plus 15% would grant, a lot more than 0.15. To be exact, it'd probably be it'd be 20-something percent, maybe 22, 23%, somewhere around there, depending exactly what the number is. But yeah, it would be much better than the 0.15 is the point. So if we were going to have assimilation speed, it would be better to switch out to this one. Again, though, I do like the integrated culture happiness. That'd be a really good one as well. But my logic with going with the pop assimilation speed first, and we want, I think we need to select through here to make sure it's switched out. There we go. So my logic with going with this one over the integrated culture happiness is because it'd make more sense to get more people in our culture before we boost the happiness. So we are done here with the religion stuff for now. We're gonna wait to enact the omen, because I think we're gonna do the Mars one for the discipline when we go to war. I think that'd be really useful. It does last for 5 years, so if we did one of these other ones, then we wouldn't be able to do the Mars one. And I assume we would probably go to war before the 5 years. So that's been done. Let's see what else we had to do. So yeah, we had to pick one, and we could have done this one here, which I already read those out. This was more of like a diplomatic route to conquering Italy, I suppose. We're going to do the Encourage expansion, though. I think that one's better. So we'll do that one. It'll complete here on the 1st of October, 451. And that means we'll get claims on all the Italian peninsula. So we don't have to form claims, which is great because it would take longer than that year. So what else do we still have left to do? Now with these are just modifiers that we get, and we can pick any ones we want. However, if we want to get the bonuses of our government here, which is a plus 5 for loyalty of characters and a plus 8% on national freeman happiness, then we have to have them match these here, and which ones you can pick are based on your government type. So we need 2 military ones and 1 oratory. So let's go ahead and do that. So with the 2 military ones, it seems like we only have 2 choices right now. Martial ethos, increasing our morale. This one here would decrease the shipbuilding cost. And this one here would increase morale recovery and reinforcement speed. So we're going to do those 2. I don't think we really need to do the shipbuilding cost. So yeah, we're going to do those 2. And then with the oratory one, we'll be able to pick one of these 3. Reduction of corruption, loyalty of generals and admirals, or improve opinion of maximum, 33%. So let's do this one, guys. This is all costing us political influence, but I think it's a good thing to do here in the beginning of the game. So that's been knocked out. So next, we should handle our trade situation. So going into the trade screen, you see that we currently have 1 trade route right now, and this is trading our cloth away. See how we're doing on cloth. We do have the benefit here, okay. So we can go and keep trading the cloth, It does improve happiness of our nobles, so we might want to not trade that, because we do want to keep the nobles happy, because each pop has different things they handle, different things they do. The nobles are responsible for the research, so they give us research points. The citizens give us a little bit of research, but not as much. I know that number's higher, but that's because there's 24 pops compared to 5. And then they also give manpower. The freemen give taxes and manpower, and then the tribesmen give taxes and manpower, but less than I think these other pops do. And then we have the slaves, which gives us taxes. So we want to make sure those nobles are happy, because they are very much responsible for a large part of our research. So I think we're going to go ahead and cancel that trade for cloth. We're going to keep it for ourselves, guys. So let's go and cancel that. That is going to tick our money down some, but that's okay, because we'll be doing some more trades, I'm sure. Now, this is a really helpful mechanic. Some of you guys remember me complaining about this in our last series, how we're just constantly getting requests to trade for our stuff, and we tell them no over and over and over again. They just keep on requesting. And, you tell one country, no, I don't want to trade, this resource away, and then 10 other ones contact you. It was such a pain in the butt. Just wasn't a good mechanic and wasn't very fun to use. Now we can tell the AI which resources we are willing to trade. All right, guys, so I have gone through these and just kind of adjusted which ones we're going to allow requests for. And the things we need to consider when we determine which resources we're going to allow to be requested, because you don't want to trade everything you got, because each of these gives bonuses that stack. So if we have, say, 3 grain resources in a state, and I guess you call it a province. This always throws me off, guys, because what we typically call in a province in most Paradox games, the little area here is called a territory, and then what we'd call a state in most Paradox games is called a province, and of course that's because of the Roman provincial system, but very confusing for somebody who plays mostly other Paradox games, so I'm probably going to mix this up all the time. So what we're going to go ahead and do is, right from the get-go, I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to call these states, and the territories are going to be called provinces. I know that's not the way the game does it, but technically in the code, that is the way the game does it. The game calls this a state, and each one of these a province, probably to fit with the rest of the Paradox code. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I know it's not technically correct, but that's how we're going to do it. So in each state, these do stack. So if we had, say, 3 grain there, then that would be 15 local monthly food. So they do stack, and can be very important, especially for the happiness bonuses. So the way I gauge this on is, we wanted to keep some that, some in here for permitting. The ones that aren't as useful, so like the local tribesman happiness, we'll trade all those away if they want to get them. And then with, let's say with like this one here, which gives the local noble happiness, we have a lot of trade goods that give that. And so what I did is I kept the ones that had the highest base trade value over here, so that way we earn the most money off of those. So the other trade goods that give local noble happiness but aren't as valuable, those are the ones that we put over here in the denied request. And we may adjust this as we go, guys, like if we need more money or whatever, or need more trade goods. I don't know if we'll keep it this way, but that's how it's going to be for right now. All right, so we've got that taken care of. So now we need to set up our import routes here in the capital. So the capital is the main location where you set up trade routes. You'll notice over here in our other state that we do not have any current trade routes. Same thing over here. The capital is the main state that has trade routes. Every once in a while you get one in these other locations. So we're going to go ahead and import 7 trade goods from other countries. And there's a couple things to consider here. Of course, you might want to consider value because you're going to make more money off of them. But when it comes to the capital, guys, I think that the main thing you should consider is the capital bonuses. So if we looked at cloth here, so with each one of these cloth, we're getting a plus 4% on the local noble happiness. So we have 3 cloth, so there we're getting a plus 12%. However, if you have more than one, so you have a surplus of trade goods in the capital region, then that will give you this benefit here. So a large part of the trade game is determining which of the capital bonuses you want. So right now, because we have cloth, we're getting an oratory tech investment. Very helpful. I really like getting that one. With wine, we're getting legion maintenance costs. Not helpful since we don't have, any legions. It's the same thing with the salt here. Wood, we do not have at least 2, so therefore we're not getting that bonus. If we did have a second one, that would give us a ship recruit speed. And of course, these do apply across your empire. That's the nice thing about the capital bonuses. With the iron, heavy infantry discipline plus 10%, we are getting that. With the grain, we're getting a global monthly food modifier plus 5%. And with horses, we're not getting anything because we do not have a second one. That would give us heavy cav discipline. Problem with that is the fact that we don't have any heavy cav. So that's one thing you should consider is, taking a look at your levies, since we cannot raise legions, so therefore we cannot determine what units we're using. Which units we use is going to be largely based off of the culture of our pops. And so we are getting 8 heavy infantry, 17 light infantry, and 5 light cav. So therefore we should probably seek bonuses that are for the heavy infantry, maybe light infantry, although they're kind of garbage no matter what. So really heavy infantry bonuses would be the most useful. A heavy cav bonus would be absolutely useless to us. So we don't really need to trade for that just yet until we have some heavy cav, either through a legion or through some levies. So instead, let's go for some ones that would actually help us. So we already have the cloth. I'm going to try and get Papyrus, because Papyrus gives the civic tech investments. Now we have 7 trade goods, so we'd have to get 2 of these. And because it's not lighting up, you can actually see that we can't get anything. That means there's no trade goods available to trade for, unfortunately. So we can't do Papyrus. Now marble would increase the happiness of our nobles and would help decrease tyranny, so that's pretty helpful. So maybe we might go after that one. And we should have selected Rome when we did this so we could see exactly how happy all of our pops are in Rome. You can see that our citizens are not very happy. Freemen are pretty happy. Tribesmen are okay. And of course the slaves are not happy at all. So this is going to help us prioritize what we want to get. I think we should definitely get something for the citizens here. So let's see what we can get here that would improve their happiness. Now I think precious metals gives you a national bonus, so that'd be really helpful. So you know what? Let's go for that, guys, if we can get. And we can. So these are the 3 provinces where we can trade from. You can see them on the map here. You might want to consider like who you're trading with. Because they're obviously going to get benefits. So we're going to trade with Macedon for 1. But remember, that does not give us the bonus until we have a second one. So let's go ahead and trade for 1 more. And it looks like they actually have 2 there. That's right. I think they have 2 in this location. I only know because I was just playing as them. So yeah, let's go and trade for both of those from Macedon. All right, so now we have the national citizen happiness of plus 8%, and you can see just how much that hopped up here. Quite a bit. It hasn't updated yet, but they shouldn't be increasing unrest anymore. They should be quite happy now that we've ticked that up. I don't know if I need to close it and then open it again, or it just needs to play a day and update. So let's go and get some other trade routes set up here. So we have something to please our citizens. Maybe you might want to get something that would please the nobility. So maybe get marble. That's not a national bonus, but the tyranny would be very helpful to have. We have the cloth. So yeah, we'll go after the marble, I suppose. Yeah, I think that'll be helpful. Although the nobles are actually pretty healthy, or pretty happy, excuse me. They might be healthy too, I don't know. So might not need that. I would like to get the stone though. Not so much for the slave happiness, but because of the build trade costs. So you know what? Let's go ahead and do that. And it should be pretty readily available out there. So let's see who we want to trade with. We're not going to trade with Carthage, considering that they're a potential enemy in the future. Let's see. Yeah, there's not really much over there, so we'll probably trade here then. Yeah, I guess we'll trade with these guys. Yeah, let's go and trade with them. And then we'll need to get 1 more set up for that stone. And it looks like they might actually have another one. But we'll go ahead and spread out the love a little bit. Maybe give it to these guys here. Yeah, we'll give it to them there, if I can find that province, because I'm not seeing it here. What's the name of this thing? Oh, okay, that's why. I was looking at the wrong location. Alright, so let's see if we can't find that. Alright, there's 2 Alps ones, so this is this one right here. Alright, excellent. So we still have 3 trade routes left to set up. So we won't be able to get the full bonus for the second one. So for the next one, let's see what else we might want to get here. Maybe diplomatic reputation? I think that would be pretty useful to have. Yeah, I think we'll go after the diplomatic reputation, guys. That sounds like a pretty solid one for us to have. Also gemstones, you can see that's not available here. Nobody has that for us. Could improve our light infantry, but yeah, I don't really want to do that. Yeah, I think that's the one we're going to get, guys. This one would be helpful too, improving the happiness of the slaves, so we don't have to deal with maybe as many slave revolts. Yeah, we could do olives. Yeah, I guess we'll do the olives, guys. So let's see who we might want to trade with. Probably don't want to trade with them because they probably won't have their olives for much longer. Trade with these guys up here. And set one more up here for these olives. And let's see where we want to go. They do have 2 there. See if there's anybody else. Trying to spread out the love a little bit. Yeah, I guess we'll continue trading with them. Do 2 of them. That will cause problems if they get conquered, of course. So that leaves 1 route left, and I suppose we'll do the honey. Because yeah, I'm not really seeing anything else here that would be as helpful. Just kind of go through these one more time though to make sure. National Freeman output would be quite helpful. So we could do that one as well. And improve local citizen happiness, though we've already gotten some improving that. But yeah, it might be a little bit better. Yeah, we'll do the earthenware. Never mind, we will not do the earthenware because they're not willing to trade with us. So yeah, we might actually have to do the honey. And they're not willing to trade with us either. So I went through all these, and unfortunately there's really not much. It is the beginning of the game, so there's not a lot of production out there. So none of these would work, but we could just do some iron, and iron does give, it does have some benefits. This gives the local tax, so we can get another plus 2% there. So that's what we'll do. We don't want to trade with Carthage. We could continue trading with Macedon, but yeah, that's Carthage as well. Yeah, I guess that's who we'll trade with. All right, so we've got all our trade routes set up, and I think we're ready to go. Oh yes, that's right. We still have to get all of our commanders set up. Let's go ahead and merge these 2. It's not even a very large fleet here. And then we're going to start with the offices. And make sure that we've got a good set of leaders here. So 7 is an okay rating. I'm sure we have much better leaders, but another thing to consider is the families, of course. You do have to consider those families, and as you can see, a lot of great leaders here, but they're not as part of these major families. So what we're going to want to do is look at the most important stats, and then those ones like aggressive expansion change, the monthly military experience, but we already have a great general here, so he'll work just fine. But yeah, all the ones that are really important, this one's pretty important here. And then these are the ones where we're going to be okay with not having the family in charge, and then we'll just kind of rotate this around a little bit. We already have a good leader here. Yeah, that's what we'll do. So with this one here, let's go ahead and place this character, although we might want to place our best martial commander, especially if he doesn't have, yeah, this guy actually would work great. We're going to put him in charge of the fleet. Yeah, we'll put him in charge of the fleet. Let's go back to these offices now. And yeah, for this national tax here, we'll just place a level 9 character. Just take a look at the loyalty. Yeah, these guys are all pretty loyal. Let's place this guy because he's older. So if we have to take it from him, then it won't be a big issue. Now you notice that we did get the scorned families, so they no longer have the 3 offices that they require. So we're getting a penalty there because of that. But again, we can rotate these. So these are all level 7. That's fine. Yeah, that's not too bad. I don't really care about any of these positions too much. And this is probably fine here, but I wonder if we don't have anybody better. We do, and he's not an important character. He's not a major character, so there's no reason not to put somebody better here to get that civilization impact increased. So we're going to put him in charge there. With the health, I feel like level 7 is probably fine, and we want a family member there. So we just need to find a position that we don't care as much about to put the whatever family I just pissed off, the blue family, which is the Fabii. So we need to find somewhere to place that character. Now we could just place him here, Though we did just put somebody there, so that's not an option. We could even split this up as it was already split up. Create a new fleet here. And just put like a couple ships over there, even just one ship. Yeah, we'll place one of these lighter ships over there, I think. Yeah, just place like one lighter ship over there. And then give them a commander position, if they even have anybody here. Oh, there's one. Alright, he's level 6. He's actually not that bad. And then there'll no longer be a scorned family. Alright, so I think that is everything we need to do. Good God, that took a while. Yeah, that took way longer than expected. Let's go ahead and let this play. I don't think we can declare war on anybody yet. Let me just double check on this. Yeah, we can't declare war on anybody yet. So we're going to have to wait at least a month. You see, we're already getting offers for some of the trade goods that we're allowing to be traded. And it's wine. And we have to choose which one of these countries we want to give it to. I kind of micromanage this and base it off of, you know, who I want to be friends with more. So we're going to grant it to them. And if we have 2 sources of wine, then we can grant it to both of them. All right. So that'll start bringing in a little bit of money, because I don't think we're bringing in much. In fact, we do want to change out a few things. We want to decrease the pay of the army, the fleet, and the fort maintenance. And a lot of offers coming in now. Are all these for wine? They are. I don't know how much wine we have to trade right now. And not seeing anybody that we want to trade with immediately. Just kind of dip around here. See who we might want to help out. Yeah, we'll trade with these guys. Why not? And that looks like it was our last wine resource that we had to trade. Wine is a hot commodity. Italian Destiny. Lucius Julius Libo calls for silence in the Curia. Rome has prospered by placing her interests first, and the gods have shown their love for her. We are poised to rule all Italia. If our petty disputes can be put aside and our strength rallied to the cause, if she only had the courage to seize the moment, everlasting glory and honor would be the least of her rewards. So we say we must strike as soon as possible, in which case we'll gain the fabrication speed increase here. Or we could do fabricate, claim, cost reduction. Scoundrels aren't going anywhere. All right, let's do the speed. Although I don't know that we're going to need to use this at all, because I think we're about to get claims on all Italy with that mission. That's what I'm waiting on. That's why we're not declaring war here immediately. As soon as we can, which would be in November. Now, a note on pronunciation. I am not the best when it comes to pronunciation. Everybody knows that. I'm terrible even with English, let alone foreign languages, where I'm really bad. If you watch the channel, then you know that I do struggle with it. I've always had issues with it. So if I do mispronounce anything, then feel free to correct me in the comments respectfully. And one note on pronunciation is this word here, which we're going to pronounce as optimates. Now, I know it's not actually pronounced that way, but that is the common way that it's pronounced in English. I think it's pronounced like optimate, something like that. But we're going to be pronouncing it as optimates, because I know that that's the more popular way to pronounce it. So this time they have, or the enriching elite is once again the agenda of the optimates. This time they have decided to gather around the head of the Fabii family, Quintus Fabius Rullianus. They claim that he deserves some land as repayment for his excellent service to the Senate. The populares are loudly opposing the legislation, as it looks like it would be public land that will be given to the Fabii. So we say, not that they need it, but they have our support nonetheless, and up to 3 holdings will be granted to their family. We could actually be spending our money, so we should probably do that. But yeah, we could do that one, and that would improve our approval of the optimates. Or we could say no. What is it with public land that the optimates do not understand? And it looks like the consul would use his veto if we intended to do that anyway. So we don't really have an option. We have to do this one. So I mean, I guess you have an option whether or not you want to lose 50 approval with the ruling party, because I do believe that they are currently the ruling party here. Just take a look. Yeah, they're currently the ruling party. They have 56 control here compared to 30 and 14. And if you want to see what each one of these are about, I'll hover over this real quick where you can pause it. So that way you can see what each of the political parties cares about. All right, and then of course we have these down here, which we'll take a look at in the future. So yeah, really no choices here. Want to do this, and that will result in Quintus here, the censor, getting further approval. Or excuse me, getting more land. So you can see, yeah, he now has 4 holdings, and he's getting money from that. So if we were to look at holdings, that is in each of these provinces. You'll see a holding owner. You can see Quintus now holds that location. This is held by, is that Publius? Here's another one that Quintus holds. And there's another one. So the holdings owner gets a percentage of the profits there. I think it's 25%, if I'm not mistaken. 25% of the profits from that province. The jealousy of the Samnites. Today, Lucius Voluminius Violins, something like that, delivers a polemic against the Samnites. Yeah, this is going to be rough, guys. There's going to be a lot of mispronunciation. Samnium once more threatens our gates, concealing their ill intentions behind Trojan platitudes. How many wars must we fight and win before they submit? How many more men, proud Romans, need to die before our southern border is safe? No more, I say. The disgrace of the Caudine Forks must be cleansed once and for all with Samnite blood. Again, just terrible with the pronunciation, guys. So we can say Samnian's days are numbered, and will gain a claim on their territories in those 3 provinces. We'll lose opinion with them, and Lucius will become more popular. Or we say the situation is more complicated than Lucius probably alludes to here. And that's not the one we're going to do. We're going to do this one. Because, yeah, I've been wanting to go to war, and I don't think we started with any claims or the ability to declare war. So, can't declare war with the Etruria because they currently have a truce with us, if I'm not mistaken. We haven't really taken a look at our diplomatic situation. We probably should have done that. I was trying to get this playing because, man, we are well into the episode and haven't done much. So yeah, if we looked at all of our subjects here, there's one right there. There's another one. You can see them lighting up over here. And here's the 3rd one and the 4th one. All right, so those are our 4 subject states right now. We'll have to annex them a bit later. Of course, we have a truce here with Etruria, and currently have a CB on them. That's the only CB we have, and we just got that, and we are going to make use of it. So before we do, though, let's go ahead and change up our economy situation. Earned a little bit of money here, and we will go ahead and spend some of that, though we will need some for the war. But there's a few things we could do with that. These are, of course, all of our policies here. They do different things. We'll look at this as we go. Again, we can't sit here on these screens forever. And when we declare war, we'll enact the Omen. But let's go ahead and build something real quick. I think Rome has some space open. So these are the possible buildings that we construct. We already have a fortress here. If we took a look at the fortress situation, it looks like we actually have 2 fortresses here. Okay, that's probably not the best use of our fortifications, honestly. Yeah, I don't really see any reason to have 2 fortifications here. And it would save us money to get rid of this one. So unless there's, I mean, they do have a lot of people here, so you don't really want them to be able to easily take the province from you. And I guess there's that. But yeah, I think we'll eventually get rid of that. We'll keep it for now, because we're doing okay in money, and frankly, we don't really have very many forts. And it looks like we only have 3 fortifications. So we have the one on the border here. This means that they cannot go through this territory unless they go, back to the fort and take it. So this fort is protecting our southern front. It looks like we also have one here, although these are vassals, so no problem there. So yeah, these guys wouldn't be able to come through here without taking the fort, and same thing up here in the north. These provinces are all protected. So just wanted to take a look at that real quick, explain how that works. Now, if you played EU4, very similar system, but they did make some changes to it recently. We'll talk about that probably here as we conduct some warfare. So we could build an aqueduct, which would increase population capacity, which we are right up there on population capacity right now. So probably something we might want to get. It'd be 85 gold here, so we do have enough money. A granary would increase civilization level and provincial food capacity, and we also, this is another change. A lot of the buildings now increase local civilization level. Local civilization level seems to be very much tied to the buildings on the province. A library would also be really good, since that would give us research points, so we might want to get the library. Marketplace, just kind of show you all the the benefits. I won't read through all of them. You guys can just look at what all they do and what we currently have at this moment. So I think we're going to go with the aqueduct so that we can have more people there for right now. We'll get that constructing, and then we'll do the library next, I suppose. That'd be a really good one to get, honestly. We might have enough money. We actually do. They're pretty cheap. All right, we're going to get that one now then. And hopefully have enough have enough money to conduct this conflict. So yeah, let's go and declare war. I'm glad we were able to get a war going in this first episode. I didn't know that we would be able to. So of course, all of our subjects will come in, and it seems that he has either a subject or an ally here. He is an ally. Okay, so let's go ahead and declare war, and he'll come in, but not a problem. And make sure I look at this war goal before we declare war. So we have to declare war for one of the provinces. We should definitely take a look, see which one we want to get. So let's go out of this real quick. All right, so this is this province here. He has one, maybe two provinces. Oh, he has three provinces there. And then he has three provinces here. So I think it'd make the most sense to declare war for this one, because this is right up on our border here. It should look a lot nicer to declare war for those ones first. So yeah, let's go and declare war for that. And of course, we're going to get a little bit of approval there with the Papyrus faction. And we saved our omen just for this, to be able to call the god of war, Mars, to give us a bit of discipline. So we're going to do that. It's going to give us 6.31% discipline. So now that we're here at war, let's go to our military screen and raise up our levies. So each one of the provinces here has a different levy army, and you don't get to pick the commander of your levy army. The commander is the governor. So here we'll get 4 pops, and they actually have a pretty damn good commander there. So I was going to raise those ones up, or I said 4 pops, I meant 4 units. And since they did change the units from 1,000 men to 500 men, 4 only equates to 2,000 men total. Here we have 30 pops, so that'd be, or 30 units. The pops are equal to the units here. And so that's going to be 15,000 men, and then plus we'll get the 3 additional support units. You get 1 for every 10, and this is going to provide us with more food. So it's going to raise them up as well for a total of 16,500 when you count those supply trains. So with our tactic, which tactic you want to go with is based on the efficiency here, the effectiveness, and that is determined by the composition of the army. So you can see that our army would do well at the shock action and the envelopment. They'd be best at envelopment. But the other thing to consider is what your enemy will potentially use. So right now we'll keep it on shock action, but we might change over to envelopment. Have to see what they're rocking. I don't know what units they're gonna have. So we'll wait till we see their army, and then we'll change it. So this army here is gonna have this guy as the commander. He's okay. Level 7's not great. But he'll take over as long as he's in the battle, so we might want to make sure that he is there, since we cannot change out the commanders of the levy units. Alright, so let's go and start moving. If we were to look at the diplomacy screen, you see who all we're at war with. Just them. And he has 7,500. That might be all he has. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to see if he has more levies. But most importantly, we can take a look at the composition. It is largely light infantry. I think those are chariots right there, aren't they? I think that's chariots right there. So yeah, they have light infantry and 4 heavy infantry. Okay. So with that, we might have a good idea of what they're going to use here. So based on them having the light infantry, they're probably not going to use the shock action. They could. There's a chance. They do have heavy infantry. And you know what? They might have better effectiveness with that. I'm not sure. But if I had to guess, they're probably going to use envelopment. They could also use the skirmishing. That's a possibility as well. I'm looking for the chariots and what bonus they give. Seems like chariots would do really well with the deception. So yeah, they might go with that one too. So what we're going to want to do is base this off of what we're most likely to fight and where we're going to get the penalties here. So they could go shock action, and so we probably don't want to go with envelopment, just in case they do go shock action. And the chance that they go deception is probably not very likely. Now they could go with envelopment, and so it probably makes sense to go with shock action because I don't think they'll go at bottleneck, and they can't go with phalanx. So you know what? Let's go with that one. We'll keep it on the shock action, guys. Most likely it'll be shock action against shock action, but we'll see. All right, so we're moving our army up. You see our allies are sending their troops as well. And where are we going to want to attack? We need to take a look at their fortifications. And we have an event here about historic wars. Gnaeus Flavius talks of our republic's military traditions. Our ancestors fought valiantly to protect the city of Romulus from our domineering neighbors. We should recall what became of these invaders, the Sabians, who women we carried off to Rome, Etruscan king Lars Porsena, and some other people here. May they never again dare to threaten the Servian walls. So we can say, attack is the best form of defense, in which case we'll get plus 5% siege ability and plus 10% on the heavy infantry offense. Or we can say, surely it is the walls that keep us safe. And in that case, we'll get plus 5% fort defense and plus 10% heavy infantry defense. Well, I feel like we definitely have to go to this one. Anything that would speed up some sieges will be helpful. So let's just take a look at where we need to siege. Oh, I forgot we had territory here. We also have territory right here, guys. So this is a fortification that's costing us. Yeah, we might want to get rid of that fort. We do have quite a few forts now that I think about it. So we have a fort here. Where are their fortifications? So they have one right here, and it looks like they have two next to each other right here, and it seems that that is it. Okay, so those are the fortifications. That's what we have to take to win this war. We're going to wait to move these troops until the rest of our army gets here. We can fit 23 in there, so we can go ahead and put all of the army here. They're currently defeating our subject states. That's okay. We are having some food trouble here. Interesting. Not entirely sure. I think maybe the army was eating it up there for a while. That's most likely what was going on, because it is currently increasing by 20.61, so hopefully it shouldn't be an issue. One thing I didn't do is that we had gotten a free province investment, and we never made use of that. From that advancement. So we should go ahead and pick something here. We have 4 choices. We can fortify the province. Local provincial loyalty will be increased. Fort infrastructure capacity is increased. As of right now, we are actually over the fort infrastructure capacity. The first fort you build costs 3, and then everything after that is 1. So we have 3 additional forts here. Or, it depends on their level, of course. And so we might want to do something about that, guys. Because, yeah, I think that's going to cost us. So I think we will go ahead and get rid of this fort finally. Let's get rid of it, guys. It's just too costly. So we'll get rid of that. They'll save us a lot of money. Quite a bit of money. So we took care of that. Now let's figure out what we want to get next. We could have gotten the fortified province, and that would have allowed us to keep that fort. But I don't think it was worth it, guys. Yeah, we actually have a lot more space here now. So that's no longer an issue. We can promote infrastructure spending, which will increase population capacity, which, as we've already addressed, we did that with the building here. So we can entice business investments, give us another import route, or make religious endowments, which will give us another building slot. I think that we should probably promote infrastructure spending, or entice business investments, so we can get the local import route. I think that'd be really helpful. It does take a bit of time to get that completed. We'll have it done in July. I think maybe 6 months is how long it takes. All right, so we have our army of 18,500 marching in here. And we'll likely split this one up. I don't think it'd be necessary to have that many troops over there. And can we merge these two? We can't, because they're from different governorships. I actually didn't use levies much. I mean, I used them a little bit in the Macedonia campaign, obviously, because I had levies, but I did rely mostly on my legion that I had as a kingdom. You start out with a legion over there. So let's go and split this army up and have a sieging army, and probably get rid of all these light infantry. They'll be the ones to take care of that for us. So let's just go ahead and throw some light infantry over there. And how large are they going to need to be? They'll at least need to be 2,500. I assume that will probably be enough. But you know what? We can go in and step up their numbers just a bit more. Maybe get them up, maybe up to like 4,000. Just make sure we don't have any issues here. So yeah, 4,000 sounds good. But you know what? Let's do one more, 4,500. And that'll get us down to 12,000 for that other army. So these guys are going to work on the siege here. So this is a fortification here. So they're going to go take care of that for us. while the other armies, and we want to deselect that one, they're going to come over here and try and battle the enemy army, though. Can we go through here? We can. Okay, I wasn't sure because of the forts. So we're going to try and catch up with them. I'm not entirely sure where they're going. Looks like they're going over that way. So the question is, they're going to go, we'll go right here. And then see if we can't catch them. They're not going to want to fight us because we outnumber them. Deceitful Umbrians. So Marcus Aemilius Paulus lumbers up to the podium to talk on the Umbrii. Esteemed senators, some of you may dismiss them as little more than hill-dwelling sheep herders, but they intervened on the side of the Samnites, then our sworn enemies, only a few years past. They have wrestled with the Etruscans for hundreds of years, yet they still stand. Can we allow such a foe to be underestimated? So we can say that they must submit to Rome, we'll gain a claim on them, and reduce our opinion with them, or we say, come now, they are hardly a threat. Alright, so let's just take a look. See when we're likely to fight them. We do have one country in between us. And yeah, I don't really see any reason to piss them off just yet. I'm not worried about it getting a claim to them either. Because again, I think that mission we're getting should give us a claim everywhere. If I'm not mistaken how that mission works. So we'll just say this for right now. There's really no reason to irritate them. And they could end up attacking us. So we'd like to avoid that. Alright, so they're going to attack our ally there. So let's get them locked, which they're actually already locked. Excellent. And then go ahead and help out. So you can see they're locked once they are halfway there. They're locked into the battle. There will be no defensive bonuses here. This isn't a plains, so it's just going to be us against them. We do outnumber them, and we do have the discipline bonus as well. We're at 111%, where they're only at 100, and they did end up using the skirmishing tactic. Okay, excellent. So we now know what they're currently utilizing. The combat width is 40, so we can't fit all the units here. And we should hopefully be able to get them defeated pretty easily. And then we'll have to chase them down. So here's the end of the battle. And we lost almost 1,300 troops, while they lost well over double that, 3,073. So our governor here did get a bit of popularity from that. Got a little bit of war exhaustion as well. Alright, so I don't know where they're going to go. I assume over here somewhere. Yeah, I guess they'll probably go somewhere around here. Retreat as far as they can go. Let's wait to see exactly where they're going before we do anything here, because they're actually attacking us with another army here. 4,190 men. I didn't know they had another army. I guess we should have assumed they did. Now, they're using the envelopment, and thus we are getting a 12% bonus on top of our discipline bonus. So this should be another easy win, despite the fact that we're just coming out of a conflict and thus our morale is a bit lower. The Etruscan Threat. So I think all of these events are about getting claims. I wonder if these have to do with these, if that's what this mission is about. Maybe this is. I don't know. I was thinking it had to be completed first. But as far as what we want to do here, we don't have any allies. You got to get rid of the Etruscans, of course. But we don't want them attacking us from behind while we're involved in a conflict. I'm just looking to see if there's any potential alliances anywhere. Doesn't look like it. Nobody wants to be our friend. Not even these guys. They did at start. We could get an ally here in Sicily. Yeah, I think that they would be our next victim, most likely. So yeah, I guess we'll say this one here. And let's just hope they don't attack us. Remember, we do have the truce with them, so they won't be able to attack us in the middle of this conflict. As far as how long the truce lasts, it lasts until 458, so it's going to be a while. So we don't really need to worry about them attacking us. We got this siege going here. And this is how they're doing right now. It's probably going to take a while to get that done. And we finished the battle, killed 2,500 of their troops, losing 600 something of our own. Alright, so let's go to march out of here. And we now have an idea of where they're going. They gotta be going over this way somewhere. So let's go ahead and try and go... Yeah, I was trying to avoid going through this province and taking the extra attrition. Oh, you know what? We actually have a small enough army we can fit in there. Now, we don't really want to fight them in the hills. the might of Rome. Marcus, proud son of the noble Fulvius, speaks in the Curia Hostilia. His tales of our ancestors' greatest victories exhort the Senate to match their achievements before, with twinkling eye, he delivers a heartfelt appeal to ensure our enemies never be given an opportunity to threaten the sacred republic of our ancestors, to ecstatic applause and much thrashing of togas. So this man must address the soldiers. We'll get a plus 5% for the morale of armies, and those other benefits there. And this one here would instead give us national manpower plus 5% if we distribute copies of his speech. I feel like manpower we're doing okay. And hopefully we don't take too many casualties there. I think it's far better to just increase the morale. So that's the one we're going to do. It doesn't have any other different effects here, so we'll go with that one. Alright, so we're marching with our 12,000 men to try and catch his troops somewhere. Is there any way to go? We cannot go that way because of the fort, so we have to go this way. And yeah, he's marching way over this way. Alright, so we're going to have to chase him really deep into their territory if we want to, and we might not even be able to do that because of fortifications. They only have a fort there. Okay, so we might be able to continue chasing them. So yeah, we'll see if we can't catch them before their morale increases. Maybe we'll be able to wipe them out. And I removed, damn it, Lord. Remove that army that we had sieging there, guys. So we lost all our siege progress. My bad, guys. What's this one about here? Okay, so that'll allow us to attack them. Yeah, we'll go and do that. They're right on the border, and we don't have a truce with them, so I assume they would actually be next, since we can't attack the Etruscans. So I have to restart the siege, guys. Yeah, that's my bad. And they are going over to that fort, at the very least. Auspices of Jupiter. To ensure support for war and official auspices from Jupiter Optimus Maximus, the patron of good faith and greatest of the gods, is recommended by the Fedials. Assurance of victory will hearten the soldiery and buoy the people's enthusiasm. While there is no doubt that Roma will be granted favorable auguries, it would not bode well if the priest returned with an inconclusive or Jove forbid pessimistic result. Okay, so we lay our faith in Jupiter, and this results in a boost of his loyalty. It's currently at 59, and we'll get 10 political influence. We say grease the palms of the chief augur Publius, and this would further increase his loyalty, but would result in getting corruption and would cost money as well. Okay, or we say a bad augury is not worth the risk. We lay our faith in Jupiter. Put our faith in the gods. Hopefully it doesn't go negatively. And Auspex returns. Imperative auguries were conducted on the Capitoline on the first clean morning. After tense wait, Consul Publius receives an inscrutable chief augur. Publius slowly steps forward and raises his palms to hush the thronging crowd. With palpable glee, he finally bellows, "Indicant." The smiles of the crowd turn into rapturous celebration, the echoing cries which can be heard on every hill in Rome. Alright, so praise Jupiter. So that went well. That's going to increase their popularity. And most importantly, we get a plus 10% on the state religion happiness and a plus 5% on army morale recovery. It's very helpful. Sucks we got to redo that siege because I moved that army on accident. So I'm not entirely sure where that. There's 2,800 of them. They are sitting in some terrain that we could easily win on. But I prefer, and we might not be able to fight in better terrain actually. Man, there's so many events popping up here. So, surrounded by vultures. So these guys are plotting the demise of Rome, approaching hysterics. They squeals of alliance aiming to carve up our lands between themselves. Okay, so we say Rome will be cowed, in which case we'll gain claims on all their territories. Rome will gain 5 aggressive expansion, and they'll lose opinion of us. Or say, let us not be too hasty. Alright, I feel like we already have quite a few enemies here, and we have to attack them first before we attack Umbria. So, let's see for these guys here. Where are they at? Alright, so they're right over there. Another country we have some people in between us. So let's not be too hasty. I don't think we need that many claims just yet. We can get them later. I suppose maybe there's the benefit of getting them all now, but So we wouldn't be able to attack him. He's safely behind his fort. But we could attack these guys. No, we can't even attack them. The fort is blocking us from attacking anybody. Alright, well, we'll just stay here. We're slowly getting all this here conquered. We already have 21 war score. And again, it's such a bummer we have to redo that siege. I won't help them with the siege. I don't think that's necessary. And again, we can't attack either of these armies, so they're just going to be able to sit there and increase their numbers again. I assume they'll eventually attack here. And when they do, they're going to get the hill bonus because this is their fort. And it actually lies to you on this, from what I noticed. It says our benefits, the terrain is to our benefit. So it assumes because we're on the defense, we're being attacked, that we're going to get the terrain benefit, but it disregards the fact that you don't get the terrain benefit if it's a fort that's being attacked. The owner of that fort, or the controller of that fort, gets the bonus. So you'll see here, it's our side that has the penalty for terrain, not their side. So it actually lies to you. Doesn't matter anyway, because we were able to quickly win. Only lost 320 men, lost 3,600 something men there. I guess this army stopped in time. Alright, so let's go ahead and go back. Can we go... Yeah, we can't really go anywhere else, so we'll just go here. Could, I suppose, try and get all of these provinces sieged down, but once you take the forts now, this is one of the changes in this patch, and he's going back now. You know what, we should let him attack so we can get him destroyed and defeated. So we need him to lock, because I assume he's going to stop, yeah. So we'd have to get him to lock and then attack. But yeah, once you take all the forts in a state, then all the provinces in that state will be under your control, automatically go under your control. So it looks like we just finished up that mission here. So we're not going to read all this. I'll let you guys read it. There's a lot of events in this, and we have not made a lot of progress in this episode, so I'm not going to read this. I think that's about the mission we just completed here. And then that gives us the ability to get all these missions done. But I don't think any of them are available just yet. No, not yet. Alright, so I kind of feel like maybe we should have just got the claims on all those countries and just pissed them off. We don't need any friends. Do we need to do anything with this? Can be complete. Which one can be complete? Oh, it seems that you can do this one as well. Alright, well that's interesting. Alright, well we're not going to do that one. I'm not entirely sure how that works. I need to take a look at it. So we'll just leave that up there for now. We do have a trade route here in the capital that I never set up because we got that completed. We got that completed in, I think, in July. And I still haven't set this trade route up yet. So let's go and do that now. Now, I thought there was something we had already gotten that we wanted to get a +1 of. Oh, we just got the iron there. That's right. Alright, so it does seem there might be more stuff available here. So, you know, from people that have increased their production already. So there might be some options that weren't available before. So I'm just going through this real quick, seeing what all we got. I've already noticed one at least, and that is the glass. But nobody will trade for it. So we can't do that one. See what other options are available here. Could improve the overall happiness of our freemen. And we already looked at honey, so that's not available. Let's see, yeah, I don't think any of these are going to be available. We never did move our ships out. I started paying for them, but we're not sieging any forts on the coast, so I don't really think we need to do that right now. What about the furs? Yeah, that wouldn't help us. Or wouldn't help us that much. Not without legions. That experience decay is most important for the legions. Earthenware. I think I was going to trade for that, but there weren't anybody who's willing to trade. Unfortunately, I wish this thing wouldn't light up if nobody was willing to trade. I think that'd be really useful if it didn't. We could go ahead and trade for the horses, even though we don't have the heavy cab. You still get the population output bonus, so that's nice. Yeah, I don't see anything else really to go for that we actually have available. There's always fish, which of course would improve the happiness of all our freemen, but our freemen are already pretty damn happy. We could go for dyes, but yep, nothing there either. Yeah, frankly, there's really not a lot of options here, guys. So yeah, we might just go ahead and go for either the horses for the population output or to get the fish for the national freemen. Yeah, maybe we'll do the horses, guys. If anybody will trade it, they will not. Alright, so that's not an option either. We'll have to do fish then. Alright, so let's do the fish. And then we could change out the trade route on the iron and get rid of that. So let's see who we want to trade with, who's all available here, who would be a good pick for us. You know, I'm actually fine with them. So let's go and get that, and then we'd have to cancel the route for the iron here. Doesn't really earn us, well, I guess it does earn us decent money. A lot better than some of these other routes do. A fish doesn't earn hardly anything. Let's go and cancel that. And we'll trade for fish with somebody else. Though it looks like we'll have to trade with Carthage. That's a bummer. Yeah, I don't really want to trade with Carthage, but there won't be our enemy for some time, so it's not going to help them that much. Alright guys, so we're going to have to end the episode here soon. I did a nice extra long episode here in the beginning. I was hoping to get the war done, but yeah, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. We'll have to come back and finish the war next episode. Take a look at the end of this battle here. Casualties are a lot more similar here. Again, we are fighting in the hills, so that's a negative. Alright, so he should hopefully finish that siege for us, if he can. No, he can't. He can't. He has too few men. So we're going to have to leave a few. Probably 1,500, frankly. Yeah, that sounds like a good number. So let's go ahead and send 1,500 here. And then what we want to do is select all of these and deselect that one, and then get these guys marching to chase that army down. So they'll help out on that siege, get that continuing. We're almost done with this siege here. And when that siege is done, then that will result in us getting control of all this here, because we did just finish this siege up. Excellent. So I want to say that's it for the forts, if I'm not, oh, looks like there's another fort. Never mind. Alright, so let's go and go after that other fort. And I don't know if they have any more here. No, they only have the one fort. So once we get these 3 sieges done, then we would have won the conflict. I'm going to take as much as possible. Technically, we could probably end the war now, but we want to get as much as we could get. We need to get control of the war goal to get the ticking war score. So this is really where we should have prioritized, is taking this area here. But I was thinking that this was his capital, so I went after that. But yeah, we do have to get this one taken as well to get the ticking war score, because right now the ticking war score is actually going against us. So that's the reason why it's only 28. Once we get the ticking war score in our favor, then that'll automatically bump up pretty high. So then we'll be able to finish up the first conflict here in Italy and get a bit of land here. I'm going to try and get as much as possible. Not too worried about aggressive expansion. We're probably going to get a lot of aggressive expansion here as Rome. But yeah, this is a good first episode. I know we didn't have a lot of gameplay. We only played like 2 years. So we didn't play much for as long as this video is, and a big part of that is because I did want to kind of go through all this and briefly explain how it works. There's still a lot more to explain, guys, and we'll do that in later episodes. I didn't want to spend the entire time explaining things, but I felt it was necessary to at least go through the basics so that people aren't completely lost while watching this, because I know a lot of you guys probably don't have any experience with this game because, you know, it's not a very popular Paradox game. Although maybe that'll change, because overall I feel like they have made it a much better game. I'll let you guys be the judge in the series how you feel about it and whether you think it's worth playing or not, worth purchasing if you haven't already. But I'll tell you this, I'm liking it a lot more than I did before. It's not perfect. I still have some issues with it, and we'll discuss that throughout the series. But overall, I feel like it's much improved. It's way better than the launch version, and Paradox has done a great job with it. Definitely been impressed with all that they've added over the last 2 years. So yeah, we'll continue talking about that as the series goes. I do hope you guys enjoyed this first episode. If you did, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. If you're looking for anything to watch, then check out the front page of our channel. We have 3,000 something videos, all sorted by genre. I do play a lot of strategy games, particularly these Paradox strategy games. Play a lot of Hearts of Iron 4. That's probably the game I play the most. We also play CK3. We've done a couple campaigns with that. We play a little bit of Stellaris, but not so much of that. A few EU4 campaigns on the channel as well. And of course we have that Imperator Rome Egypt campaign, which while it was of a much lesser version of the game, it was still a fun campaign. And if you want to learn of some of the history of the successors of Alexander, maybe consider checking that out, because there was a lot of history in there. Honestly, I probably got a little bit overboard with it and had like 20-minute sections on the history, and we won't do that same thing in this one. Not that long anyway, because I think those historical sections were far too long. But if you do want to learn a little bit about the Diadochi, then maybe go check that campaign out. And again, we did have fun with it, even if the game was, kind of bland and boring overall. But yeah, go check out some of the other content on that front page. We don't just play strategy games, we play all sorts of genre. I play with my wife and co-host Jinx. We play games on the PS4 as well as to the strategy games here on PC. So you should be able to find something to watch that you would enjoy. If you're looking for any links, check out the description of any of our videos. We have links to all of our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff, if you'd like to follow us on there. You also find a link to our Discord if you'd like to join our community. And finally, you'll find links to our PayPal, Patreon, and Teespring store if you'd like to help support the channel. So that's going to be the end of this first episode. Episode 2 will be up on Wednesday, and it will not be anywhere near as long as this one. I did want the first episode to be long so we can get as much gameplay as we could, because I knew that intro and going over all this stuff and really all the stuff you got to take care of with the trade routes, setting all that up, and picking picking your advancements, or I should say your innovations. I don't know what you'd call them. I guess these are the innovations and these are the advancements. But picking those does take time as well. There's a lot of stuff to take care of before you even press play on this game. So very similar to like a game like Hearts of Iron 4, but it takes a little bit longer because it's a new game on the channel. We don't play this game on the channel, so I wanted to actually explain it a bit more than I would in, say, Hoi 4, which we play all the time. So that did take a bit of time, so sorry we didn't have as much gameplay as you would normally have for a video of this length. But you'll see that won't be the case in later videos. We'll be able to get a lot more gameplay in here, as I don't have to explain as much. But I hope that was helpful for those of you who never played the game, don't know anything about it, and made sure that you weren't completely lost as we played the first episode. So we'll try and spread that out, though, because I know that not everybody watching this is new to the game. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. I do hope to see you guys on the next one, and thanks for watching.